So moms are under an enormous amount of pressure to be a certain way and to look a certain way and blah, 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 blah. And I think a lot of women are suffering in silence.
It's Channel Mom with Jenny Dean Schmidt. We're here for you.
Brought to you by Pediatric Dental Group of Colorado, creating positive and rewarding dental visits for kids of all ages since 1977.
Lately, I've realized, as I'm 49 years old and getting close to my 50s, and my kids are growing up, and Shelly and I are talking about this all the time, I think this is a really tough time for women.
You mean this age or this time point in history?
Both.
Okay.
Both. There's a lot of pressure to be, a size 2 and drive the right car and look like a hottie and have perfect children and live in a nice house and maybe work outside the home so you look more, important than if you're quote unquote just a mom. And then motherhood is belittled. So if you're quote unquote just a mom, then that's not. There's just so much pressure. And then there's so much busyness with everything that's going on your phone and on your computer, let alone the television and everything else. So moms are under an enormous amount of pressure to be a certain way and to look a certain way and blah, 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 blah. And I think a lot of women are suffering in silence. They're a little depressed as life seems to be passing them by, as they don't measure up the way they did when they were 21 years old. Maybe they've set aside a career for their kids and they feel like nobody thinks they're important anymore. Maybe their kids are about to leave the house or rebelling or whatever it is, so they feel like they're not doing so great as a mom. Maybe their marriage is busted up. Maybe they're tired and worn out as a single mom. I think in the late 40s, mid to late 40s, maybe even the late 30s is a very hard time for mommies. Don't you agree?
Well, I think this Facebook era, too, has made life for others seem like it's better than reality.
Yes. Like everybody looks so
Everybody
happy.
has a great time on Facebook.
Look at my margarita that I'm having in Mexico. You know what I mean? Like enough margaritas in Mexico already. I've vowed not to post that kind of stuff. At any rate, I want to play a soundbite that I heard Betty Robinson. Betty was talking about all the women who struggle and women who struggle with their past and can't forgive themselves and feel bad about their future and feel bad about how they look in their present. And she was talking about giving the hurt to God. And man, what a releasing thing that is. If you can wake up every morning and physically think about casting your care on God. It's biblical. You can do it. And so for those of you who don't believe and for those of you who do believe, even if you don't think that God's there, try it.
I've done it. Try it.
Cast your care and your hurt and your pain and your woes and your regrets, cast those on God and it will cleanse you and make you feel good. This is what Betty Robinson said.
Many of you may know we lost our daughter to cancer, our youngest daughter, recently. Yeah. And it's very painful. The hurt is very deep. Mm-hmm. But God is so faithful.
Yes.
I never felt God's disappointed in God. He was right there. He still is in the midst of that. And He is walking us through it. And He wants to be in the midst of all our problems, all our pain and our hurt, if we'll invite Him in. And some other friends of ours wrote a song about take Him to the place. I believe that means that hurt, that disappointment, that pain, that whatever you experience in your life, loss in your life, relationships, God wants to be right there.
When she said that, first of all, I had tears in my eyes because I do follow them and have for years, and they did lose their daughter. It was in her early 40s and left 3 kids behind, and just incredible what they had to go through and what she had to go through. But when she said, invite your God into your hurts, invite Him in. And He wants to be there.
And she knows. She's dealing with this.
Yeah. He wants to be in that place of your hurt. And I thought, how comforting that feels to think about God with me there in the hurt. It's the burden gets released that way. It really does. Don't you agree?
I think we've seen it with our friend who lost her son.
Yeah. So I just invite you today, if you're hurting, if you're crying in the car, if you're crying at your computer, if you don't even want to acknowledge it, maybe you're so hurt you can't even let it out. I would suggest very humbly you give it to God. Even if you're not quite sure you believe it. If you're not quite sure you believe Him, just
picture it in your mind. Picture Him picking it up from you, taking it from you.
Cast your care.
Try it.
Yeah.